Good afternoon, students. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will discuss on chapter that is earthquake. This is chapter 13 in your book. So this is the first session of this chapter, and I will discuss some part of this chapter in this session, and then we will discuss accordingly on the second and third lecture. So let's start first. So before beginning, let us start that what is earthquake. Now see, earthquake, it is a natural phenomenon like flood, like thunderstorm. So it is a natural phenomenon. Earthquake comes under a natural phenomenon. So at first, earthquake, it is natural phenomena. Like other phenomenon, it is a natural phenomenon. Earthquake. Now the question is, what is natural phenomenon? What is natural phenomenon? Natural phenomenon is any event. Natural phenomenon is any event in which there is no involvement in humans. That means involvement of human is not there. That is called natural phenomenon. It is an event in which there is no involvement of humans. So what is natural phenomenon? It is any event in which there is no involvement in humans. This is called natural phenomenon, where involvement in human is not there. That is called natural phenomenon. So earthquake comes under this natural phenomenon. Now natural phenomenon is of two types. Natural phenomenon is of two types. One is meteorological and one is geological. One natural phenomenon is meteorological, and one is geological. Now what is meteorological phenomenon? Meteorological phenomenon means a phenomenon which can be predicted in some extent. You can predict, or human can predict to some extent. That is called meteorological phenomenon. Like thunderstorm, cyclone, this phenomenon you can predict to some extent, that when this phenomenon will occur, at what speed the storm will come, like this. So you can predict to some extent, but you cannot stop. Only you can predict. That is called meteorological phenomenon. So it can be predicted to some extent. So this phenomenon, it can be predicted. It can be predicted to some extent. That is called meteorological phenomenon. Example like cyclone, thunderstorm, all of this comes under meteorological phenomenon. And geological phenomenon that you cannot predict. This is a phenomenon you cannot predict. This phenomenon, for example, earthquake, volcanic eruption, this phenomenon you cannot predict. That is called geological phenomenon. So it cannot be predicted. It is a phenomenon, it cannot be predicted by humans. That is geological phenomenon. Example, earthquake, volcanic eruption, etc. Volcanic eruption, etc. These are the geological phenomenon. So earthquake finally is a geological phenomenon. It is a natural phenomenon obviously, but more precisely it is a geological phenomenon. Earthquake. Clear? So we will now study details about earthquake. Now the question is, what do you mean by earthquake, or what is earthquake? See, it is a sudden tremor. Earthquake is a sudden tremor or movement of earth crust which lasts for a very short time. It is a sudden tremor or sudden movement or shaking of earth crust which lasts for a very short time. That is earthquake. That is the definition of earthquake. So earthquake, it is a sudden tremor or movement of earth crust. It is a sudden tremor or movement of earth crust which last for a short time, that is earthquake. Clear? So this is the definition of earthquake. It is a sudden tremor or movement of earth crust which lasts for a very short time, that is earthquake. Now next, foreshocks. Now what are foreshocks? Foreshocks is like a warning earthquake. It's like a warning earthquakes. Foreshocks are like warning earthquakes. That means it is a smaller earthquake. Foreshocks are the smaller earthquakes that actually the foreshocks are the smaller earthquakes before the larger earthquake. That means before the main earthquake or larger earthquake, these are the smaller earthquake that happens at the same location. Clear? So before the main earthquake or larger earthquake, there is some shaking or mild tremor is noticed there, that comes under these foreshocks. These are known also as smaller earthquakes. That means these foreshocks are like an early warning. These foreshocks are like an early warning that an earthquake is going to happen at that place. It gives you warning that an earthquake is going to happen at that place. So it gives you warning. That's why it's known as warning earthquakes. And these are basically the smaller earthquakes. So what are foreshocks? These are smaller earthquakes that it happens before the larger or main earthquakes and at the same location. Clear? So foreshocks are smaller earthquakes. Foreshocks are smaller earthquakes that happen in the same place or in the same location before the larger or main earthquakes. That are foreshocks. So it gives you these foreshocks gives you warning. It is an early warning system that an earthquake is going to happen at that place. So it gives you warning. That's why it's known as warning earthquakes. Clear? So this is all about earthquakes and foreshocks. Next, what are the effects of these earthquakes? What are the effects? Effects of earthquakes. What are the effects of earthquakes? Number one. So there are various effects of earthquakes. We know. Number one is that it can cause damage to your buildings, to your bridges, public property like dams due to the shaking of this earth crust. So its main cause is damaging the public property. Public property means it can damage your building, it can damage apartments, it can damage dams, and also loss of life. That is the main effect of earthquakes. So it can damage, earthquake can cause damage to buildings, bridges, dams due to the shaking of earth crust. Due to the shaking of earth crust. So first effect is earthquake can cause damage to buildings, bridges, dams due to the shaking of earth crust. Clear? Number two is that it can also cause great loss to life. The second effect is it can cause also great loss to human life or animal life. So mainly it can cause great loss to life. So number two effect is that it can cause great loss to life. That is the second effect. Third effect is that it can trigger flood and landslide. So the after effect of earthquake is that it can trigger also flood and cause landslide. There is the third effect. So it can trigger flood and landslides. Fourth effect is that earthquake beneath the ocean floor can cause also tsunami. So tsunami, we know that it is a very dangerous earthquake that happens a long time ago in our country. So its main cause is earthquake under the ocean. So earthquake under the ocean or beneath the ocean floor, it can also cause tsunami. So earthquake, it is the also a effect of earthquake. Earthquake beneath the ocean floor can cause tsunami. So these are the effects of earthquakes. Clear? First one is it can cause damage to buildings, bridges, and due to the shaking of earth crust. Number 2, it can cause great loss to life. Number 3, it can trigger flood and landslides. And number 4, it beneath the ocean or under the ocean floor, it can cause also tsunami. Clear? So these are the some effects of earthquakes. Next, now we will study the structure of earth. How earth looks like internally. Structure of earth or inside the earth. Because this is important and very interesting topic if we want to know the cause of earthquake properly. So structure of earth, and or you can say inside the earth. Now earth inside the earth, the earth inside internally looks like this. These are the some layers of earth. This is the inner core. This is known as the inner core of earth. That means inside the earth, inner core of the earth. Next, this is the outer core. This is known as outer core. Finally, this is known as, after outer core, this is known as mantle. And lastly, this is known as crust, or we say that earth's crust. So earth is mainly inside the earth, a structure of earth is mainly divided into this part, that is the outermost part. Outermost part is known as crust. Then the second layer is mantle. After mantle, the third is outer core, and inside the earth, it is known as inner core. Clear? And this is the surface of earth. This is the surface of earth where we live. All that is surface of earth. In this place, all the animals and humans, all the living organisms live there. That is the surface of earth. Clear? Now this outer surface, this whole outer surface, actually this is the outer surface. This outer surface is not in a single piece. This outer surface is not a single piece. It is actually composed of 7 number of pieces, which is called tectonic plates. Very important, listen carefully. This outer surface is not a single place. As we look in the figure, this outer surface is not a single place or single piece. This outer surface is not a single piece. It is actually composed of 7 number of pieces or 7 number of layer, which is known as tectonic plates. So this outer surface or outer layer is not in a single piece. It is composed of, this outer surface or outer layer is composed of 7 number of pieces, which is known as tectonic plates. And due to the movement of this plate, Due to the movement of this plate, earthquake occurs. That means the main reason of earthquake is the movement of these tectonic plates. This tectonic plate moves, and due to the movement of these tectonic plates, there is a earthquake or sudden tremor we feel at the surface of earth. Then we call it as earthquake. Clear? So main reason is that movement of this plate, movement of these plates, that is the reason of earthquake. Clear? And this outer surface or outer layer, which is not a single piece, actually is composed of 7 number of pieces, it is known as lithosphere. This outer surface or outer sphere is known as lithosphere. This outer surface or outer layer is known as lithosphere, which is composed of 7 number of pieces, which is called as tectonic plates, and the movement of tectonic plates is actually the reason of earthquake. Clear? So this is all about the structure of earth and how earth internally looks like. Now we will study detail crust, about mantle, and about core, which this inner core and outer core. We will study this inner core and outer core both together. So that is core. These two, inner core and outer core, is known as core of earth, which is inner core and outer core. Clear? So first, crust. First one we'll study first core, then mantle, then crust. So first, core. So see, earth has two core, one is inner core and one is outer core. One is inner core and other is outer core. One is inner core and other is outer core. Now core is the innermost part of the earth. This core is the innermost part of the earth. We see this core is the innermost part of the earth. The core of earth is actually made up mostly of iron. This is made up first mostly of iron. It is made up of, core is mostly made up of iron. Number 2, it is the innermost part of the earth. Second point is, it is innermost part of the earth, that is core. Third one is, it is extremely hot. The core of the earth is extremely hot because it is the innermost part of the earth where temperature is so high that it is extremely hot there actually. So it is extremely hot. It is extremely hot in core. Most of the earth's core, known as outer core, is liquid, that is molten iron state, whereas inner part of the core, called as inner core, is under the high pressure, that is solid. That means most of the earth's core, known as outer core, is in liquid state. Most of the earth's core, which is known as outer core, most of the earth's core, which is known as outer core, is liquid state, or you can say is liquid. The liquid is molten iron. Most of the earth's core, that is outer core, is liquid, that is molten iron, whereas inner part of core, which is also known as inner core, is under high pressure, that is solid. That means most of the earth's core, that is outer core, is in liquid, which is known as molten iron, and whereas the inner part of the core, that is known as inner core, is under high pressure, that is solid. So these are the information about core. Clear? Next, second topic is mantle. After core, the second part of earth is mantle. Now talking about mantle, it is the central region of the earth. Mantle is the central region of the earth, or also you can call as middle layer. So it is the central region or middle layer of the earth. Mantle is, it is the central region or middle layer of the earth, that is mantle. Second is mantle mostly made up of dense solid rocks. Mantle mostly made up of dense and solid rocks. Mantle mostly made up of dense solid rocks. Now, second is some of the mantle is a mixture of solid rocks and hot molten rocks, like lava from volcano. Some of the mantle, because mostly it is made up of dense and solid rocks, but some of the mantle, it is a mixture of solid rocks and hot lava from volcano. So third information is some of the mantle is made up of from a mixture of solid rocks and hot lava from the volcano. Next is, now as the temperature is high in mantle, because it is made up of solid rocks and hot lava, so heat is coming out from this core of the earth, that means mantle part. It warms the mantle. Heat is coming out from this mantle part or core of the earth, which actually warms up the mantle, because its temperature is very high, because it is made up of rocks and hot lava. It is a mixture of solid rocks and hot lava, that's why its temperature is high, and therefore heat is coming out from the mantle, which actually warms the mantle. Clear? So next is heat is coming from the core of the earth, which warms the mantle. So this is about mantle part, the second part of earth. Clear? Last, so after core and mantle, the remaining part is crust. The remaining part is crust. The remaining part is crust. Now crust is the outermost layer of the earth. It is the outermost layer. Crust is the outermost layer of the earth. Outermost layer of the earth. Crust is the outermost layer of the earth. It is the crust is actually made up of comparatively lighter rocks than that of mantle, because mantle was made up of dense solid rocks, and some of the mantle was made up of solid rocks and molten rocks, that is called as lava. But the crust of the earth, it is made up of comparatively lighter rocks than that of mantle. Clear? Actually it is made up of many huge pieces of rocks, many huge pieces of flat rocks, which are comparatively lighter than the mantle. So it is made up of many huge pieces of flat rocks. This earth crust, it is made up of many huge pieces of flat rocks, which are comparatively lighter rocks than that of mantle. Clear? Also, each piece of the earth crust is known as plate. Each piece, that is each flat rock, which is the main composition of this crust, that is each piece of earth crust is called as plate. Each piece of earth crust is called as plate. Each piece of earth crust is called as plate. Each piece of earth's crust called as plate. So these are the information we know about crust. So core, mantle and crust, these are the structures of earth or inside the earth. Now cause of earthquake. Why earthquake occurs? Cause of earthquakes. Cause of earthquakes. Now see, the main cause of earthquake is due to the movement of tectonic plates. That is the main reason. If we say in short that what is the reason of earthquake, we will say that due to the movement of tectonic plates or movement of tectonic plate is the main reason for earthquake. Clear? Now in elaborately, if we see that earthquakes are mainly caused by disturbances deep down inside the uppermost layer. It is mainly, or earthquakes are mainly caused by the disturbances deep down inside the uppermost layer, which is known as lithosphere. The outermost layer of the earth is not in a single piece. It is actually composed of many number of plates, which is known as tectonic plates, or it's also known as lithospheric plates. That is the structure of earth. That was the structure of earth. So it is the inner core. This is the crust part. Clear? This is the outer core, this is the mantle. So this is the surface. Now this is the outer surface. It is not composed of a single piece. It is composed of 7 number of plates, which is known as tectonic plates or lithospheric plates, because this outer sphere, this outer surface or outer sphere is known as lithosphere. That's why the plates are termed as tectonic plates or lithospheric plates. So this is composed of 7 number of pieces, 7 number of plates, which are known as tectonic plates, or you can also call as lithospheric plates, because this outer surface is known as lithosphere. That's why the plates are known as lithospheric plates or tectonic plates. Now these tectonic plates or lithospheric plates, they move around the earth very slowly, just a few millimeter every year. These tectonic plates or lithospheric plates, they move very slowly around the earth, just a few millimeter every year. This movement of these plates or tectonic plates is due to the movement of molten magma inside the earth. Now earth contains molten magma inside the core of this, and due to this presence of molten magma, these tectonic plates or lithospheric plates moves around the earth, and this movement actually changes the surface of earth internally. That's why we feel earthquake at the outer surface. So this is the main reason. If we elaborate the cause of earthquake, the main cause is the movement of tectonic plates. Now why tectonic plate moves? Because it moves due to the presence of molten magma inside the earth. Now due to the presence of this molten magma inside the earth, these plates very slowly moves around the earth, just a few millimeter in every year, and this movement cause changes on the surface of earth, which actually known as earthquake. Clear? And at that time we feel sudden tremor or sudden movement, or we feel very shaky. That's why we call it as earthquake. Clear? Now if these tectonic plates move very fast, then we feel devastating earthquake. Depending on the movement of tectonic plates, the intensity of earthquake depends. Clear? So this is the main reason of earthquake. Now movement of earth crust. Movement of earth crust. How earth crust moves actually. Because movement of earth crust, because cause of earthquake is due to the movement of earth crust or movement of tectonic plates. We know, because the earthquake mainly occurs due to the movement of tectonic plates or lithospheric plates or movement of earth crust. Now the question is how the earth crust moves. See, if we draw diagrammatically the tectonic plates, suppose these are the tectonic plates. These are the tectonic plates. Clear? It joins to one another like this. These are the tectonic plates. One is there and another one is
there. This is the tectonic plates. Clear? Now what happened is that the boundaries of this plate, the boundaries of these tectonic plates may get interlocked due to the friction, because the earth is rotating, and if it rotates, there is friction generated due to this rotation, and this friction interlocked the boundary of these plates. The rest of the plates, however, they keep on moving. These two plates, suppose there are 7 number of pieces plates, they are called as tectonic plates. Suppose these are the plates, they interlock with each other due to the friction. Now why the friction comes? Because the earth is rotating, and due to this rotation there is a friction generated, and this friction interlocked these 2 plates, and the remaining plates, they suppose keep on moving, they are not interlocked to each other. Now some plates are moving, some plates are interlocked due to this friction. So this causes a tension to build up the plates. This causes a tension to build up in the plates. When the force of moving plates overcomes this friction, when the force of moving plates overcomes this friction of these edges, all of their stored energy to gets released. Now the question is, this some plates, they are interlocked due to the friction, and some plates, they are moving, and for this reason there is a tension generated in these plates, which causes a force of action. And when the force of this action or force of these moving plates overcomes the friction at the edges, all the plates, they stored energy and they released. Now when the when all the plates, they release their energy, the earth some shakes or vibrates around the fixed point. Now when the plates, they stored energy and they release the energy, there is some shaking or some movement feel around some fixed point or around the center point. This shaking or vibration gives rise to energy or gives rise to shock, which is known as seismic shock or seismic wave, which is known as seismic shock or seismic waves. Now what are seismic shock and what are seismic shock or what are seismic waves? The earth actually vibrates when the plates release their energy, and due to the release of energy, they give rise to shock to the earth's surface, which is known as seismic shock or seismic waves. And this seismic waves is actually the main reason for the movement of earth crust. Due to this seismic shock or seismic wave, the earth crust moves, and then we feel some shaking at the surface of earth, and then we call them as earthquake. Clear? So main cause of movement of earth crust is the generation of seismic wave or seismic shock. We feel sudden tremor at the earth surface, and then we call it as earthquake. Clear? So this is the main reason of the movement of earth crust. Clear? So that's all for today. In the next session we will discuss from here, and in this session we have covered the earthquake, definition of earthquake, the foreshocks concept, the natural phenomena, the structure of earth, the effect of earthquake, and also the cause of earthquake, and some information about movement of earth's crust. Almost 50% of this chapter is complete. In the next session we will complete the remaining topic, and then we will start solving your question answer. Clear? Thank you.